Before starting this video, I would love to give a disclaimer that I've learned a lot of these best practices from my colleagues who are teaching at IBA. Some of those are my teacher who taught me during my MBA days. Some of them are my colleagues who have discussed it over a cup of tea, and I have learned it from them. So the practices that I'm sharing will represent most of the IBA faculty that they are doing in their classes. I've just adapted some of those practices in my classes. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. This is Atif Murtaza. I would be discussing about improving teaching and learner's experience. So here are a few tips from my side. Number one, we have amazing CLOs and PLOs which have been mapped onto the course outline, but one important thing that we need to do is audience profiling. How do we do that? We basically ask all the class students to share their backgrounds, whether they are from A levels, from intermediate, whether it is MBA direct, so how many of those are engineers and doctors, how many years of experience do they carry. So that gives you a brief insight what sort of a class this is gonna look like. So number one good tip is do an audience profiling right on the very first class or even before that. Another good tip is ask about the expectations from the course, which is about expectations alignment. What do the students perceive this course is going to give to them, and what exactly is the teacher going to give to them? So if there are any changes in your course outline, you can immediately make based on that feedback or that expectations. Okay, students want these particular areas to be covered more, so you can change your outline accordingly. When you are done with half of your semester, you can take a mid-semester feedback on any digital tool like Menti or Google Forms or even a whiteboard. You just move out of the class for 15 minutes, ask your class to write start, stop, continue. So what is that one thing that you have not started yet which the students wanted to do? What is that few things that you should stop? And usually they'll talk about taking attendance and some coursework or assignments. So please, okay, let them say it. And then there is continue. There are some good practices that you have been doing which they really want you to continue. So that just gives you an immediate feedback in between the semester that how you are doing. Now comes the very important aspect, that is engaging and energizing the students inside the class. So most of our students are from Generation Z. They love their mobile phone, they love video making, they love using digital tools. So there are a few very good tools. One, Mentimeter. It gives you very interactive responses from the students. There and then you can make word clouds, you can have open-ended inputs, you can have many other forms of input like MCQs, etc., and it is free. And if you register for the paid version, it gives you extra benefits. Another one is Kahoot. Kahoot basically provides you a very good polling environment. Similarly, you can add quizzes in the form of fastest finger first, like who wants to be a millionaire. So it drives a lot of engagement. Then you obviously have Google Forms and Microsoft Forms. Plus another very good tool for making very creative presentations is Canva. So I usually encourage my students to make presentations on Canva instead of making those on PowerPoint. Also, they can make very good posters, very good banners and other stuff. So it adds a lot of creativity to the class and also a lot of engagement. Another creative way of driving engagement inside the class is making them do something with their hands, like using of Play-Doh or using chart papers for making some charts or presentations. Similarly, use of sticky notes. We divide the class into different corners. One corner is for finance, one is for supply chain, one is for marketing, another one is the GM's office, and they make a role play and they have to present on chart papers or sticky notes. So that drives a lot of engagement and creativity for the students. Plus, if you can add some props, that's some cherry on the top. If you can bring Goraka wig or any other thing which adds some spice to the class. So they really enjoy it. They are having fun, they are learning, and they are participating. Another good aspect is the usage of cases from HBS or any other sort. If you're using multimedia cases, they are very relevant. If you're using simulations, they are very relevant to the class. If you're inviting guest speakers, and you debrief the guest speakers about the class's requirement and their current level and the topic that you're teaching, so it really adds value to your course. Plus, if you can add candies or chocolates as the class participation. So there are two types of class participations I provide. One is the Sasta Wala candy, which is a 2 rupee candy. This is just for speaking up in the class. And I usually provide these in the earlier classes just to open up the students. And then there is a value added candy, which is like a 5 rupee or 10 rupee candy. which the students really enjoy. It drives the dopamine rush in their blood. Plus, it also gives them the sugar rush. So if they are hungry in the morning, they haven't had the breakfast, so they enjoy it really well. Plus, it helps you calculate the class participation at a quantifiable level. Like you can count the candies, how many have you given out and who has won how many. So this is a good tool for driving engagement. On top of that, field visits and their vlogs. I usually ask students to make a YouTube channel for their particular course, like retail consultants at IBA. That is one of my retail classes group on YouTube. They upload their videos and I send them to unconventional places like Alanda Bazaar or a lighthouse, how they are doing the retailing, how do they do pricing, how do they manage inventory, so what sort of practices are there. So students love this sort of a group work. And the final presentation, I usually ask the students to make it digital. Like the presentation would be a voice over PowerPoint video uploaded on YouTube, and then the Q&A session will be done face to face. Some of these work well and some of these don't. So we have to have this experiential mindset that we do some experimentation. And after experimentation, if something starts clicking really well, we can replicate that across all the classes. And if something doesn't work, that's a learning for me.